In this video, I'll look at adding some secondary motion, a little wiggle at the bottom of the crouch, as well as looking at the mouth and other shapes to really add some expression to this animation. It's important to get your animation blocked in first, and then get your major components timed out right before adding the secondary action. The major things, the crouch down and scale and the spring up and the jump, are what drives the emotion and the overall look. So secondary motion should come after that. So far what I've done is to at least get the tangents reasonable for the crouch down and the spring up. After that, I haven't finished out all the keys, so I'm just going to look at this first part in this example. What I'd like to do is to have him crouch down and wiggle just a little bit. He's setting himself in position before he jumps. Really, this means from about maybe frame 10 through about 25, I've got room for a little shift back and forth. I'll select the Control Master and animate the roll attributes to get those in the right place. I'll press N for Auto key. Right now what we can see, and I've right-clicked on my timeline and chosen Filter and Object in this case, is that I've got keyframes down here at 80, 89, and 120 or so. And there's none really before that, so all of his roll actually takes place well after the initial jump. I've got the roll up here as he looks down. I'd like him to start out neutral, and over here as he's squishing down by maybe about 15 or so, he starts to roll back and forth, and it looks like he'll be on the y-axis. I'll give him a little bit of roll. First one way, scrub over a couple of frames, and go the other way. I'll come back to frame 10 or so, and make sure I zero out that roll Y. Right-clicking on a spinner to zero it out animates it down to 0 if Auto key is on. So there's a key. He starts out neutral, crouches down, wiggles back and forth a little bit as part of that crouch, and is ready to reset that motion as he's about to jump at 24 or so. I'll right-click and animate that down. What we're seeing here is that although the scale is smoothed, his roll is still step because my default tangent is to step, and then he jumps up. I'm going to go into the curve editor and play with these keys a little bit. I'll open it up and scroll down. There in the modified object is the attribute holder, and in that attribute holder under custom attributes is my roll Y. Those keys are set to stepped at the moment. I'm going to pick them all and try them out as linear to begin with. I'll turn off Auto key, making sure I don't accidentally key something else. He squats down, rolls and wiggles, and returns back to 0 prior to the jump. It's not bad, although it could be a little faster, sort of a snap side to side. Right now his roll is decent, but too even. Again, here in this track view, I need to go down and find that parameter. There's my roll Y, and here's that animation. Right here, we can see it's, well, even. What I'm going to do is try these out as fast. He snaps one way, snaps another, and then animates up. I'll pick this key at the top and try a fast in. I'll pick the one at the bottom and do the same, and finally let him go fast here in the beginning. We'll see if this works. My guess is I need to adjust. Anytime you've got an S-curve going, you're going to get a funny animation. I'll pick this key here at the end of the roll and change it over to spline. Then I'll grab this tangent, hold Shift, and redirect it so it's fast out of that key. He rolls back to 0, and then I'll do the same up here at the top. If you don't want to go through the step of making it fast, you can skip it and go straight to spline if you're comfier. It's kind of nice sometimes to visualize it being fast and then adjust. We can see as I grab one handle without holding Shift, it wants to take the other with it, and we get some very odd animation. I'll make sure I hold Shift and adjust this handle. Finally, I'll pull the beginning down and select the beginning one, make sure it's spline, and pull it around. He starts out slow and snaps into place. I'll close the track view and see if this works. There's just a little bit of a roll there, and it's almost so slight you miss it. But if it's not there, it looks odd. He rolls just a little bit, and springs. It works well. I may need maybe an extra scale key just to hold him in place as he's still scaling down here as part of that. The scale could also come sooner, and so it's okay to look at the secondary motion and then adjust it afterwards in the major places. I'll right click and choose Filter and go by Current Transform. I'll press R for Scale and look at the scale keys. What's happening is he's scaling from 0 all the way down. So what I'm going to do is make sure that his scale occurs actually from about 10. He holds his position, scales down, wiggles, and goes. I can continue to adjust this, and it looks like I need to adjust his position as well, pressing W, and there's those keys. I'll grab the key at 0 and pull that over. He crouches down, wiggles, and jumps into place. I think it's looking better, and it's a little bit of adjusting in the keys. Don't be afraid to add extra keys and push them around, really getting that motion showing up correctly. Now we'll look at his mouth just a little bit. I'll pull back and turn off my grid by hitting G. By about frame 80, 83 or so, he's looking around, and his mouth needs to open in surprise. I'll say by frame 80, and what I want to have is that motion overlap. I'll pick his mouth shape, and there's a control for the mouth. I'll turn on Auto Key, and I'll say by about this frame, maybe a little further, his mouth has opened up as he's looked over and starts to come down. There at 85, I'm going to open up that mouth and pull that. I'll also key the left down, pulling down and giving him a little dismay in his expression. I may even take the middle and pull it down a little more as well, so his mouth is a little open in surprise. With all of these, I need to make sure I turn off Auto Key, right-click, choose Filter and Object, and move those keys over, because I want this motion to occur just in this range, not over the whole animation. I'll grab that key at 0 and pull it over here, so by about 75 or so that animation starts, overlapping with the other actions. He jumps up and looks around, and his mouth opens as he comes down. And I'm ready to smooth out these keys and make sure it's got some snap in that animation.